Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dump and Change. Today, our guest is Taylor Lind, who is our captain on St. Cloud State Women's Hockey. Taylor, you're originally from Saskatchewan, so how did you first get involved in hockey?
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for having me.
So excited.
Yeah. So I come from like a really small town of like 1,700 people, and I guess it's kind of all you really do in Shaunavon is play hockey. All my friends did, my siblings did, so everyone just kind of started playing hockey growing up.
Is that all the only sport you played?
No, it's a big sport community in general. Hockey would be like the most prominent, but like I played everything. I played baseball, I played softball, volleyball, basketball, track and field, cross country. Yeah, you name it basically.
Did you play just hockey in high school?
No, I played all those. Well, I played volleyball and basketball up to grade 9, I think. And then after that, I moved to just hockey and then track and field too, because in the spring I had some flexibility and I enjoyed running. So
What event?
I was long distance. I liked the 3,000. It was kind of my race. I wasn't much for the 800 was too short for me. That was a fast race. Not for that one, but yeah, no, more of a long distance runner. Did some javelin too, the long distance throwing event mix.
We can tell. So you have two older brothers too, or are they older or younger?
I have an older brother, a younger brother, and then an older sister.
Okay, and were they super involved in sports as well?
Yeah, so my older brother, he played juniors in Canada, so he moved away when I think I was probably 13 or 14 to Saskatoon to play midget AAA, and then from there he moved out to Kelowna, BC to play for the Kelowna Rockets. So obviously, like, I looked up to him my whole life, and then my older sister, she moved away when I would have been in grade 9, and we were pretty close. I ended up moving where she lived the year after, and we played together, but yeah, so they were also hockey athletes, and they moved away at a young age too. So I mean, it was kind of nice to get to follow in their footsteps and like watch them take that jump before I had to.
Was it hard moving away from family like so quickly? I feel like that's kind of early, no?
Yeah, it's definitely early. It was helpful that I had my sister there, and she was kind of like a mentor for me because we moved into the same billet house, and then right away, my parents actually, after about like 4 months of us living away, they were able to buy a house in Swift Current. So we did have our own house, and they had the flexibility with their jobs to be able to come over a few nights a week and like take care of us. So it wasn't too big of a jump because it would have been young for me to move away. I think I was 15 maybe.
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
yeah, it would have been young, but obviously I had my sister, and she was really, really helpful, and she looked out for me a lot.
What was that? Like just a AAA team?
Yeah, it was a AAA team. It was only an hour away from home, which like obviously I kind of understood it wasn't too big of a jump. Compared to, I knew I wanted to move away to the States in the future, and I knew that that would be a good step. But it was still far enough away that, like, the friends I had grown up with since I was a child, like, when you come from a really small town, you don't get to see them all the time, and you only get to see them at Christmas and over the summer. So it does make a bit of a difference.
What about your parents? Did they like play sports growing up? I feel like your whole family's super athletic, competitive, like.
Yeah, so my mom, she was a hurdler in high school. She did track and field. My dad played football. He played a bit of hockey, but hockey wasn't like their main sports, which is really funny. People are always surprised when we tell them that. But
Yeah.
I mean, coming from competitive parents, you just tend to raise children who are very competitive as well, I guess, and that helps with athletics.
So your sister played until high school. Did she play after high school?
Yeah, so she played a year at the University of Lethbridge. It was in the U Sports program, so like Canadian University. Their program actually folded after her first year, so she played, I guess it's like a U22 league in Alberta, until she aged out, and now she's actually coaching now that she's aged out.
Oh, okay. And then your brothers are both affiliated with the NHL.
Yes.
And they played juniors in Canada, both of them?
Yep. My older brother, he was drafted by Vancouver in, I want to say, 2017, and then he was picked up in the expansion draft by Seattle. He's with the Coachella Firebirds right now. And then my little brother, he was actually drafted this past year by Nashville, and he's playing juniors in Canada in Red Deer, Alberta.
So did they ever have any, like, aspirations of playing in the States, or they always knew they wanted to play juniors in Canada and go straight to the show?
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Well, that's actually a good question. So I know my dad, he was really big. So my older brother kind of set like the pathway, I guess, for both of them. Cole always had his sights set on juniors in Canada. That's just the league that he wanted to play. He felt that his game fit best in that league. You obviously get more games, so I think he was really attracted to that. But I know my dad was kind of like, whoa, pump the brakes a little. Think about, you could go SJ or AJ, and then you could look at what NCAA would look like. I know my dad's big on like getting an education and stuff too, because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Things sometimes don't work out.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my brother decided that the CHL was the route he wanted to go, and then my little brother, he kind of followed in those footsteps. He plays a bit of a rougher game, so I know he was really attracted to the style of the WHL.
Interesting. Do you guys ever like talk about hockey and stuff, like tips for each other and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do.
She's giving him tips in the NHL.
Yeah, actually, that's not right. No. But like this summer, we all lived in my older brother's house training in the city. And it's actually funny. We don't lift and skate together every single day, but like you still see the patterns carry over, and you do know, like, obviously we all know what each of us need to get better at. So I know me and my brother were really big on focusing on my little brother, what he's eating, like dialing it on that. I know they're always giving me crap about working on my skill work with the puck and stuff. And so I'm sure everyone gets an earful of each other, but it's always in good fun. And like, we're always just looking out for what's best for each other. And you know how it is when you're hearing it from siblings. It's like, I do not need to hear this from you.
You're
like,
wrong.
Yeah.
Do they watch all of your games?
Not all of them. Obviously, they have their own schedules, but I know that they do watch what they can. It's always nice when you get a text from them after, and they're like, oh, like, you played well. It was nice to get to see you. And I mean, it's a bit refreshing when we don't get to see each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like, my older brother, I haven't seen him since we left for summer. So, yeah, it takes a toll, but it's nice to know that they're supporting from afar.
Yeah.
So going back to your like high school career days, when did you start having like college aspirations or start narrowing down where you wanted to go?
Yeah, so I guess I didn't really think about that too seriously growing up, just because from Canada, like, you don't really know that much about the NCAA and what it looks like.
Yeah.
We don't quite have the like the media openness as you guys do when you're obviously in the same country. But I know in Pee Wee, probably my coach put it into my head. He was kind of talking about like, oh, think about when you're going to be playing college when you're older. Like, I want you to like start envisioning that. And that was something that I had never really opened my eyes to before. I always just thought, oh, I just move up to the next level. Like, I just do what the boys do. They always just go to juniors. Like,
Go into the NHL.
yeah, that was my goal. I was like, I'm going to the NHL. Like, and I was like, oh, I want to play in the Olympics, like every girl does. So I was kind of like, wait, how do you, like, what do you do when you don't go to the Olympics? Like, where do you play before that? Where do you go? So, yeah, I was just, I guess teams started to reach out once I was in my U18 program, and like, some of the other girls that I had played with, I was actually committed to Lindenwood with one of my teammates. I guess she kind of opened my eyes the most just to what recruiting looked like, because my older sister didn't really get recruited to the NCAA, so me and my family had no clue. We saw some guys who had been recruited, and we had talked to their families, but obviously that process is still a lot different than the women's side. And then I would say, I guess, like, I was planning to play boys when I think it was my 16-year-old season, 16-year-old season. And I think that was kind of when it opened my eyes. One of the coaches was like, well, you need to start thinking about what recruiting looks like. Because they don't watch the men's game like they're going to be watching women's for prospects. So I think that was kind of where I started to take it serious and was like, okay, I probably need to make the flip and think about my future for a second.
Did you play boys growing up?
Yeah.
Your whole life?
All growing up, yeah.
Okay. What was that like?
I enjoyed it a lot. I think it gives you a different perspective on the game. I played a few years of contact too, so I enjoyed that and like kind of getting to understand what the game looks like from that aspect, where you're not just looking for the right play, you're maybe looking for the play that is going to be best for your teammates and their safety, and not just sewering someone and being like, oh, your problem now. Like,
Yeah.
Was it hard, like, transitioning? Because I feel like it sounds like you were almost kind of forced into it just from a recruiting perspective.
yeah, the switchover was a lot different. Obviously, I think everyone understands that the women's game, there's a lot more relationship-based sides to it than there is in the men's side. Like, I mean, women's programs, you just have to build such a deeper connection, whereas I feel like for men, it just comes so easily. Like, you just get put in the same room and they're like, oh, hey. Whereas
Immediately buddies.
yeah, exactly. So I think that that was a big change to start with, but honestly, like, I love it, and I think that anyone who has played on the female side realizes that it's something really special that you get to do.
Were you like boys with the boys?
Yeah, one of my friends, when I was younger, I think we were like 13 years old or 12 years old maybe. We were going to a spring hockey tournament, and I was going with his family, and his mom was like, okay, well, like, you need to put like blankets and pillows out on the couch for Taylor to sleep. And he's like, what? Why? And she's like, well, like, she's a girl. She can't sleep in your bed with you. And he's like, what? Taylor's not a girl? Like, and I was like, oh, God.
Then you committed to Lindenwood. How did that change happen going to St. Cloud then?
Yeah, so I think it was like May or April before I was supposed to go to Lindenwood. And my friend called me the one day and was like, heads up, we just found out our coach is actually, there's going to be some turnover and our head coach is being fired. We're going to bring in a new coaching staff. And there was quite a bit of turnover within the girls too. Quite a few people were leaving. And I guess that's just the point where I was at. I had been recruited by this person. This was someone I trusted. That was the only person I had really talked to in the program. And then I heard that he was leaving and it was going to be a brand new situation. I wasn't sure what the culture was going to look like. I wasn't sure who was going to be there. And I was like, as a 17-year-old girl, I was like, that's scary. Like, I'm not sure about that. So I guess we kind of backed out of that commitment, and we told them that we weren't going to for sure say no, but we did want to explore other options. And so ultimately I looked at a few schools and I came down to St. Cloud, and it was actually one of the men's coaches gave me a tour of everything. And I was like, yeah, this place is awesome.
That's funny. So kind of a similar situation in being at St. Cloud, and then we had a coaching change. Did you have some of those same feelings that you had when you were leaving Lindenwood?
Right, yeah. I mean, it was obviously kind of scary the day that we were brought in and told what was happening, because you don't really know what to expect in a situation like that. I mean, we all went through it, and it's like, okay, what's next? Where is this program going to go? What's the direction? But I think we were also in a spot where everyone wanted change. We wanted to change for the better, and our program wasn't where we were happy with it. So ultimately, it's tough to see things like that happen, but sometimes when some doors close, other doors open, and that was the situation that we were in.
Word.
So there was a lot of change, not only on the ice, but off of the ice. And you were put in like a huge leadership role. How did you go about all of that? Like, we had to completely shift our whole entire culture.
Yeah. I mean, it's never fun to kind of have to go against the grain, and I think everyone on the team last year kind of felt that that was the shift we were in. Like, that hadn't been what St. Cloud's culture had been in previous years. And honestly, we didn't really have much turnover on the team. Last year, I think there was, 3 transfers? You guys were 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And other than that, it was basically the same team.
Yeah.
So I think that everyone came in last year not really knowing what to expect. I mean, you had a few calls with Coach Brian, but no one for sure knew what that was going to look like. I guess I feel like things kind of, everyone's eyes got opened the day that we went up into the Husky Den, and we kind of had the meeting of what we wanted, what the culture was going to look like, what a successful program had looked like for him in the past. And I think that was kind of the day that I opened my eyes, and I was like, that's what I want. I want to win. And I think there were lots of girls in that room who felt that way too, who were on the same page. And obviously there were some who didn't, and that's okay, because that wasn't really the culture that they had committed to when they went to college. Like, everyone understands that. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a lot of work and obviously change is hard for everyone. But it's something that I think everyone's really thankful that we went through and that we've had the opportunity to do.
So this wasn't something that you like expected or you were pushing for until like that meeting, until you heard what Brian's expectations were, what he felt was gonna take us to the next level. That's when you kind of like really bought into things and were like, yeah, we need to change.
You know what? We had a couple conversations over the summer about not too much into what the culture of his teams had looked like, but I kind of understood that things were going to be different. I'm not sure I knew exactly how drastic the change was going to be, but I feel like I was ready to do what it was going to take. I was sick of where we were at. I was sick of losing. I mean, my first year here, I think we had 3 wins maybe. It's fun to play college hockey, but it's fun to win.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just here to say that I was a Division I athlete.
Yeah.
So which year did you become captain?
Last year.
Okay,
Our
so
first year, yeah.
wow. So how did you even step into that kind of role?
I mean, I feel like I'm a bit of a natural leader. Personally, that's just my personality.
We can tell.
So I didn't have a letter my first, second, or third year, which I totally understood. We had a lot of really good leaders in our program, and it was really cool to learn from them and get to watch what they were doing. And I guess Brian just felt that I kind of fit the mold of what he felt could move our program forward.
That's interesting. So how is your relationship with Brian? Do you guys like talk on a daily basis about where the team's going and stuff?
Yeah, we talk pretty regularly about the direction of our program. I mean, obviously, once you get into playoffs, it's more about, like, how can we win these games? And day to day, it looks different, what the conversations look like. But, yeah, I feel like lots of the time it's about what we're doing for the program and where we can improve what the functions look like.
So how do you, as a leader, go about, like, for example, our little slump that we had coming back from break where we were losing games we shouldn't have lost? How do you go about that? What's the process?
It's difficult. Honestly, it probably, like, the internal feelings, I'm sure they didn't look a whole lot different than they did for you guys. I mean, when you're part of a team, everyone has a hand in, so it's hard for everyone in those situations. I mean, I was frustrated, and I was kind of looking at what I could be doing better for everyone. I know I internalize a lot of that, and I kind of think, okay, what am I doing? Like, what do I need to do to fix this, and how can I make things better? Which I love to make things better, and obviously when you play a team sport, it's not always do this, this, and this, and things are going to be perfect. Right. So I think that to start with the leadership group, we kind of met with our performance mindset coach, and we're like, okay, can we take a step back and think about what needs to be done, where the team's struggling, and then go from there. And I know he does a lot of work with us, and he's really helpful. And I think in situations like that, he kind of directs us at what we need to look at and where the team might be off a bit. And then I guess we just kind of go from there.
Yeah, I feel like it's especially hard just because it is a team, and just because, things aren't working together as a team. Like, everyone could be going through something completely different. Like, the reason that, one person might not be playing the best that day could be completely different than like somebody else's reason. So I feel like it's kind of hard to address that team like as a whole,
Yeah, 100%. And especially when you play on a team with 28 girls or whatever, like, everyone has personal lives, everyone has family issues, everyone has day-to-day matters that they have to go about. Like, you're a nursing student, you have classes all day long, then you have to come to the rink, and like, everyone's balancing something. And I guess keeping that in mind, it's always like, okay, how can I help JoJo on a day where she's struggling? And I think that around the room, our team is really good at that, at understanding that each person kind of has their own things that they go through. Definitely. And maybe being like, okay, well, she's at 70%, let me pick up her other 30% on this day.
I like that.
That's good.
So going forward now, we have our first playoff series this weekend. I don't know if you've looked at like pairwise at all. What is it going to take
We've been chatting about pairwise a lot. And because of our little slump, we're not in the best spot.
We put ourselves
We could be in a better spot. We would like to be in a better spot. But what's it going to take for us to get to the tournament? What are our thoughts on that?
Yeah.
What do we got to do?
I mean, yeah, obviously pairwise is always in the back of someone's head, as much as sometimes you're like, okay, don't want to think about that right now, just want to think about what we got to do. But I think, honestly, we've put ourselves in a spot where at the end of the day, we do get to control our own destiny. If you look at the WCHA tournament, win the WCHA tournament and you're in.
Right.
And then you don't leave it up to someone else. So I guess where I'm at right now is I'm just kind of, let's focus on Duluth, let's take care of them, and then we'll take the steps forward from there that we have to.
So our team is like, our second half, we've struggled with games that we knew we needed to win. So how do we as a team and you as a leader go through this playoff series and the rest of our season knowing that they're must-win games or our season is over?
Yeah, and that's kind of where I want to look back to those games and think, okay, so we were like, oh, we need to win these, and we obviously didn't, but that's something that we can learn from and be like, okay, so that's what went wrong. How can we fix it? By like going through and breaking those down and thinking about what we talked about with Gordo after those games, that's where you can learn a lesson from those series and be like, that's where we struggled with that. Now this is how we can apply this piece of information and fix it this time around.
Yeah, I also feel like every team just like goes through that at some point of the season.
It's just unfortunate it was the second half.
It's not, no, you know, it could have been better timing for us, but I feel like that's just something everyone goes through, like.
Definitely.
I mean, and honestly, no one ever wants to go through something like that, but I'd rather it be in the middle of the season than at the end of the season right before playoffs.
Yeah, better than now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's true. What about, like, the scoring slump?
Yeah, I think that was – it's obviously frustrating for us forwards. It doesn't help having Himla in the back. I guess we all see that, but that's where we're at right now. So, I mean, it doesn't really help for us to sit here and be like, oh, poor us, like – we don't have one of our leading scorers playing forward. So I think obviously it helped having a breakthrough of goals this weekend. That was really exciting, or last weekend, getting to see that. That was really exciting. And I mean, hope that can just carry forward for this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully the ladies that were talking this weekend can
take care of business.
Build some confidence off of that and keep it going. But.
So aside from hockey, so you're like an education major, is that what it's like considered?
Yeah, so I finished my elementary education degree last year, and then I'm getting my communications degree with a conflict management minor this year.
Okay, do you like, because from my understanding of it, it's like part of it is working in schools. Is that correct?
Yeah, so last year I actually did like my student teaching full time all year long.
Yeah, so it's just like a full school day?
She was the world's busiest person.
Yeah, so I would go to school at like, I had to be at my classroom for 7 in the morning, and then I would be there until 2 in the afternoon. I would go right to the rink, and then you guys would be done lift. I'd get there for practice time, and then I would work out after. Yeah, I'd come running in, get dressed in like -5 minutes, and then be on the ice, cold, like trying to warm myself up. I'm like in line doing squats, like, okay, let's go. And then after practice, I'd usually do my lift. I'd go home, make supper, and I would go to bed. Like it was long
Busy
days. Girl. Yeah.
Is there anything from like your teaching career that you think translates into hockey or vice versa?
Yeah, I do. I think that it really helps with my leadership actually, like kind of learning to calm situations down when they're in a bit of a stressful place. And I think, honestly, last year just gave me a lot of perspective on what hockey is supposed to look like, that it's not always supposed to be a job. Like going to school and having to teach all day long, as much as I love that and I love the connections, that was a job. Getting to go to the rink, like, that's fun. Being with the team and getting to play hockey, the game that I love, like, that was the fun part of it. So I guess it kind of helped me just to relax and take a step back and be like, you know what, like, you get to be playing hockey today. It's not a bad day.
Appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Sure. And we're just like a bunch of little kids. And Taylor's like our teacher.
There was honestly some days when I was talking to some people and I was like, I'm using my child voice right now. Like, I need to stop. People think I'm
Your
weird.
Teacher voice.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
I feel like one time you did the like.
Yeah, I think it was on the ice. Actually, I used my stick, like the return your like the call and response with my stick, and I was like, what did I just do?
Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Clap 2 times if you can hear me.
Put your hand on your head. Put your hand over your mouth.
Oh my goodness.
She does that with her children.
All right, yeah, now we can move on to questions.
Okay. Favorite hockey memory?
It's got to be the Fill the Bowl game in Wisconsin.
Yes.
That was wild.
Sold.
Shutout?
It's whatever.
No big deal.
It's whatever. Plans after college?
Yeah, I don't really know what that's gonna look like yet. Whether
P-dub?
I would like to pursue hockey, and like that would be really cool. But I mean, I guess it just depends what opportunities there are for me.
Stick, flex, and curve.
Okay, so I use a 55 flex with the CCM sticks, and I use a P88. I know,
Me
weak
too.
arms.
Everyone chirps for it.
Yeah, I know. I get told that I have the worst curve ever, but
Same. What's wrong with it?
I don't know. I guess
Do your brothers chirp you for it?
my brothers don't chirp me for it. Some of my friends back home do though. They're like, you literally use a
Like your guy
2x4. What are you
friends.
doing? Yeah.
Mine too.
They're like, no kidding, you have no hands. Like, what is this?
That's
Ripped.
crazy.
That's funny. Who do you have the best vibe with on the team?
Ooh, I'd probably have to say Clara, maybe. We were freshman year roommates, so we've been together for a minute. Yeah, 5 years.
Long time coming.
Oh, yeah.
Old ladies.
It's true.
Loudest on the team?
You?
Nice. Funniest on the team?
I might have to go with Avery for that one, too.
Oh my goodness.
Heard.
Wow.
Quietest on the team?
Who's mute?
I gotta go Paige. I feel like Paige is pretty
She is
quiet.
She's silent.
She
Get her
just
on the
gives a little
podcast.
giggle and like a judgmental look around
Get
the
her on
room
the pod.
sometimes.
We should just have her on the pod and just chat.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just talk and she'll listen. Messiest on the team?
Oh, Devin. Easily. Easily, Devin.
Evan, pick it up. Like, pick up
Gross.
your stuff.
Yeah.
Clean up your stall.
I think there was a day where there was like dino nuggets in the dry stalls, and I was like, whose are these?
Child.
I was like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
she brings her plates from home in the dry stall and has her like pizza on there. I'm like, why does it smell in here? I look, it's Devin's food.
She's
from
one
last
of a
night.
kind. Whose gear smells the worst?
Oh, Sonny's gloves. Sonny's gloves are
Ugh.
disgusting.
I feel like goalie's gear like really stinks though.
Do you think mine really stinks?
Haven't sniffed you lately, but
I don't sit near the goalies enough to have to judge that, but I can just tell sometimes when I can smell her hands after practice, and I'm like, oh, get that away from
that
me.
is
the
nasty.
gloves actually leave a permanent scent though.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've heard people use like shaving cream to get them off.
I've never heard of that. Shaving cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, but do they put it in? Like they just put it on after?
I don't know. I just like heard about it.
You should try.
Yeah.
Because after practice, like your hands are like you could wash them 100 times, they're gonna stink.
Yeah,
For-
it's
I think it's on there for life now. The scent. How do you get through hardships in hockey?
I guess I know that I work a lot with our performance mindset coach. So through talking with him and just talking with like other people who are in similar positions as me, I think that helps a lot. Talking with my siblings, I know that they've been through mostly all the struggles that I go through. So just leaning on those people and kind of trying to take advice from where I can get it.
Do you think that the sports psych side of hockey is like how important do you think that is?
Yeah, I think that that's really important. Talking with Gordo, I know he kind of talks hockey and like athletics in general are like 85% mental and like 15% physical. So that kind of, if you're ignoring that part of your game, then I mean, you're obviously missing out on a lot that could really benefit you.
Yeah. What is the hardest moment that you've gone through in hockey?
That's a hard one.
That is a really hard one. I mean, freshman year obviously wasn't really easy. That was a really big transition period for me. Obviously, for most people it is. You come from a high school program where lots of times you're the player that's leaned on and trusted, and then you're moving into this role where you're the bottom of the rack again and you have to move your way up, and it feels like you have to prove yourself all the time regardless of what you're doing. So I think that was kind of a big adjustment, and like lots of times, especially in the WCHA, like you're playing against Olympians. You're looking across the ice and I'm like,
Not easy.
okay, you went to the Olympics last year. Like, I think I scored my first goal on, who was the goalie for Duluth?
Maddie Rooney.
Joe.
Yeah, scored my first NCAA goal against Maddie Rooney, and Poe comes up to me and she's like, oh, like, that's a gold medal Olympian. And I was like,
That's so crazy.
like, that's bizarre. So I think that just moments like that kind of help you to realize, like, get through those times and be like, okay, like, at the end of the day, you're going to grow. They've had 5 years to progress. So, like, you just need to give yourself time and trust the process.
You played in all 35 games your freshman year. Like, was that expected?
I think that I expected it. Obviously, like, I still didn't really know what NCAA hockey looked like.
Yeah.
But I know that it was a goal for me. Like, I didn't want to be in and out of the lineup. No one ever does. So I wanted to help the team however I could on that day. And I think I was really thankful to be in that situation where I did get to play in all those games.
It was hard to adapt to. It was something you've never been in before.
Yeah, I would say it was more hard to adapt to something. That wasn't really a position I had been in.
Like the grinder role, that's where you were in
Yeah.
your freshman year?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But it's good. It's good to have some experiences there to, like,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's
feel like
on,
that's good.
yeah, it's good to go through those positions too, because I feel like you can always then relate with other people who are in those
Exactly.
positions
Yeah.
and kind of help give them advice of what it is and how they're helping the team in that position. Because obviously sometimes I didn't see how I was helping the team, but
Yeah.
you know, those people, they can be the spark that the team needs all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's like integral to like growing your college game. Like especially some people come in and, you know, they do get that like top spot immediately, and it's like I feel like once they experience that hardship, it's really hard for them to adjust to it. Like they don't understand having just come into that role and being that like kind of top spot right away.
Right, 100%. Things are always like more sweet when you work for them and then like earn
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I agree.
And how Brian always talks about, like, having a chip on your shoulder. I don't know.
True.
Then you just, like, are expecting things, and, like, it's not as special if you don't have to work for it.
Yeah, no. And I think we're all going through that right now, so it's exciting.
Working.
Let's go. Chips on our shoulders for sure.
What is your pregame hype song?
Oh. Maybe like some Nicki Minaj, like some Starships, like some
Oh,
throwbacks.
yeah. Okay.
One word to describe your game.
Gritty, maybe?
Grit.
I agree with you. What is to describe your game? A goalie's game. What's one word to describe JoJo's game?
Calm.
Calm.
Like, for real?
Yeah.
Low-key, I could see that, because like when I come up to you between whistles and I'm like, oh, like, let's go, you're like, yeah, let's go, Tay. Like, you're just always so centered.
I'm like, here we go,
and,
Tay.
like, yeah, I don't see you too frustrated most of the time.
Yeah, like level-headed, I would say.
She gets frustrated out there when I swear on her.
That's practice. That's different. That's not my game. That's my practice.
Okay. So not calm in practice.
No, absolutely off the rails at practice. Depends on the day.
Yeah, I guess that's what I was thinking. So the calm threw me
Yeah,
off.
one
a
word
bit.
to describe my practice: stressed,
Angry.
angry.
Pissed.
Yes. Okay,
Can I
guys.
say that?
Enough with the synonyms. All right. Moving on. Who is your hockey idol?
I really like Zach Hyman.
Who is that?
He plays for the Oilers.
Oh, okay. Avery and I are like,
We're bad with
oh,
names.
cool.
We're bad with
Okay.
names.
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
Favorite hockey movie?
I like Miracle, obviously.
Yeah.
That's kind of a go-to. Mighty Ducks. I think I said that in one of the team TikToks one time.
Yeah. Who's your road roomie?
Clara.
Gotta love it.
You guys have
BFFs.
like a good schedule.
Oh yeah, we have it dialed.
Like
Nap
bedtime and
times,
everything?
bedtimes. Oh yeah.
What time are you going to bed on the road?
On the road, we're usually lights out. Well, it kind of depends, because after games, it's always harder to sleep. But
Yeah,
like,
you're not sleeping
if it's like a
awake after a
Thursday
game.
night, probably like lights out, phones down around 10.
Yeah, that's
I
reasonable.
think same.
Yeah, that's about us.
You have a boyfriend as well. Do you FaceTime on the road?
No. On the road, no.
no.
No, I just.
That's disrespect.
Yeah, I don't. Do you, JoJo?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
in the
well,
vlog.
I'm
Check out
glad.
the vlog. We chat. we chat with Chase.
Yeah.
He's in the vlog. We got in a fight with him last weekend, but
Yeah,
We didn't get in a fight with him, okay? Avery's being dramatic. He just misheard her on the vlog. He thought he knew what he was talking about.
that he ate.
What's your favorite team to play?
I really like playing Ohio. I like playing Wisconsin too, but I really like playing Ohio.
Yeah.
Where do you think you would be now if you ended up going to Lindenwood? Do you think you'd be the same player, person?
No. I mean, obviously, well, like,
That's what I'm thinking too.
I feel like the people that you're around kind of shape you and change you a lot. And so, I mean, obviously, even through just like my 5 years at St. Cloud, I've changed so much from being a 17-year-old freshman to now kind of fitting into my role as a captain, as a 22-year-old, like going through a coaching change, going through a culture change. I'm a very different person. And so, obviously, I wouldn't have gotten to experience those times at Lindenwood. And I mean, I think I'd obviously be in a very different place in my life if I hadn't been through those.
Very true.
Do you think that the position you were put in with being the captain throughout this culture change interfered with friendships and things like that? Because obviously it was like hard for a lot of people to fathom the fact of.
Yeah, of what we were wanting to do. I mean, what we were wanting to do is something that not everyone gets the chance to do. So it's, you know, you have to make sacrifices that other people aren't willing to make. And I guess looking at it at the end of the day, we were trying to make goals that we hadn't had in the past. So we had to change things. And I mean, sometimes when your goals don't align with other people, you drift apart and you grow apart. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I still have all the respect in the world for those people. We just maybe aren't as close because our paths went different ways.
Yeah.
Very good point. You have a pretty particular game day routine. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty,
Superstitious.
I like my schedule. I wouldn't say superstitious. I try to stick away from that word. I know someone kind of bugged me when I was younger. I was really superstitious, and they were like, nah, that's a bad way to be, because if one thing goes wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I think too, yeah.
But
screwed.
I definitely like my schedule and my routine.
What does that entail?
I mean, I like going to the rink for activation, kind of getting things going, coming home, getting a little lay down in. I guess it depends what time our games are at. Now that we have the afternoon versus the night games, like, my routine's like a bit different. But at the end of the day, like, I still like to get my shake or like get out of the house for a couple minutes, get back, get relaxed, get ready for the game, do my makeup, pick out my outfit, listen to music, watch some TikToks, kind of just zone out and be in my space, and then head to the rink and get in my own little bubble with my headphones, have my coffee, get my legs scraped, and kind of start to dial it in for the game. I like playing a little football with Soon too.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Biggest rivalry
Um,
this year for us. Who do you think our biggest rival is?
I gotta say Duluth, just because where we're fighting with them for positioning. But I feel like we have a lot of really heated games with the Gophers.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
Yes.
really
That's what I was
heated.
thinking, yeah.
So you can't really play that down none.
We have beef with them.
I think everyone has beef with them.
It's true.
It's not us. We're
It's-
not
it's
the
We're not the
problem.
They're the
problem.
problem.
I know what the problem is.
Last question. Who is going to win the Natty?
St. Cloud State women's hockey.
You heard it
Well-
here first, folks.
No other answer. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Taylor, for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yes, we will see you guys next time on Dump and Change.